We are at the dawn of a new set coming out for the game. With the starter deck 11 now fully released, we're looking at EB01, the Memorial Collection, which is the next booster set in the One Piece card game. That set is a bit particular though, because it's an extra booster set, so the cards are actually focused on giving better support to previous booster set instead of bringing new things to the game. So that's what we're gonna talk about today. Hello everyone and welcome to Anything Geek. My name is Zero and today we're gonna take a closer look at all the cards that I find are interesting in the EB01 Memorial Collection. And we're of course gonna start with the leader that's right at the beginning of the set, which is Kozuki Oden. And his effect is all your land of 1/0 type character cards without a counter have a plus 10k counter according to the rules. Also has a done one effect that when attacking, if you have a land of 1/0 type character with a cost of 5 or more, this leader gain plus 1000 power until the start of your next turn. And having a 1/0 type character with the cost of 5 or more is actually fairly easy. Also remember that in OP01 we had the secret Yamato, which is a 5 cost with double attack and banish, so there's actually a good combo there that is just waiting for someone to dug it up. You give all your 1/0 cards that are vanilla plus 1k counter, so you get a better counter ability when it comes to building a 1/0 deck, and your leader gain plus 1k power if you do that, which in addition to the down X1 that you're already attaching to Oden, it makes it actually a 7k when you attack, which makes it in range for dealing with Whitebeard. Very cool, and I think this really has a space, especially in the previous meta where Land of 1/0 was kind of not really popular. The next card we're gonna look at is Izo. It's a 5 cost 7k power of the Land of 1/0 and Whitebeard Pirate. On play you can give up to 1 rested on card to your leader or one of your character, and on your opponent's attack once per turn you may trash 1 card from your hand, and if your leader has a Land of 1/0 or Whitebeard Pirate type, you can give up to one of your opponent's leader or character minus 2k during this turn. That is a huge buffer and debuffer. Giving 1 rested down to one of your character or your leader is very strong. We know that with the Nami from Starter Deck 1, or even with Karu from the Alabasta type, which actually do a ton of work for the Alabasta archetype. Not only that, but now on your opponent's attack once per turn, he needs to expect that he's gonna get debuffed from 2k of one of his attack. And this goes into a Whitebeard deck. Bear that in mind. This is for previous sets support. So you can totally play this in a Land of 1/0 deck with the Kozuki Oden that we just saw, but you can also play this in a Whitebeard deck. That's sure to be very useful. Next card we're gonna talk obviously about Chopper, and I'm just gonna touch up on the art right before because there's 2 art in it for this, and the normal version is already very cute and very nice. I like that design. The So-So version is obviously also very cute. You got that little Pokemon kitty vibes going on with it, as we know from So-So. He's a very prominent artist for the Pokemon card game, and this is the card that is getting the manga rare treatment for this set. And of course, as always, manga rares, they're just like they're just perfect. But let's talk a bit about his effect. He's a blocker, same as the 1 cost Chopper from the Starter Deck 1. It's a 3 cost 4k power though, so you have a bit more defense with that specific blocker. Also a down X2 effect. When attacking you can give up to one of your opponent's character minus 3k during this turn. So yes, this is a blocker, but you can definitely use this in a more aggressive manner when you need to switch up your strategy and be more aggressive. The next card that I found was very interesting is Yamato. Here it's a 5 cost 5k power, so she's in range for the Kozuki Oden's effect, and she has a 2k counter for a 5 cost 5k power, so you can still use this defensively if you're really in a pinch. And she has an effect, activate main once per turn. You can give up to 1 rested down card to your leader or one of your character. It's a very basic effect, but it allows you to activate your leader's effect. So that's very interesting if you plan to play in the Land of 1/0. And the last card for red that I'm gonna touch upon is There's No Way You Could Defeat Me. That's a 3-cost event, that's a counter, and the counters you can kill up to one of your opponent's character with 6k base power or less, and also has a trigger, you can KO up to one of your opponent character with 5k base power. To me, it's just the same as Gum Gum Jet Pistol. The only difference is that this is 1 cost cheaper than Gum Gum Jet Pistol, and Jet Pistol actually targets 6k power, not base power. The next card I find interesting is already in green. We have Kozuki Iori. She has an activate main. You may trash this character and play up to 1 Land of Wano type character card with a cost of 5 or less other than Kozuki Iori from your hand. And then you can draw a card. She's only a 4 cost, and yes, you need to trash this, but you already get a draw power, which is very good, but also you can use this card to play the Yamato from set 1, the secret Yamato from OP01. And it goes again with the Kozuki Oden leader that we have in EB01, because that leader is red and green. So you can totally play this. I think green has not that much support, because the next card that I really found interesting is Off-White, and we are already in the event section. And that's a counter up to one of your leader or character card gain plus 4k power during this battle. Then you can look at the 3 cards from the top of your deck, reveal 1 Don Quixote Pirate type cards and add it to your hand. Then you can place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. And we know the Don Quixote Pirates are a good archetype already in the game with the green-purple Doflamingo from set 4, so this makes that Doflamingo just that more interesting to play. Next card interesting that we have is actually Shambles, and that's a 1-cost event with a main effect. If your leader has a Supernova type, you can return up to one of your character to the owner's hand, and then play up to 1 character card with a cost of 2 or less from your hand that is different color than the one that returned. Also a trigger, you can activate this card. This card is so good. It's actually the same effect as the red-green law that we had for OP01, and that deck is still prominent to this day. It's still a very interesting deck to play, and this just tune this up to 11. Very interesting to me. I love that deck, and I'm really eager to revisit that deck with that card when it drops. Next we have the Amiable leader for the blue and purple color, and his effect is at the end of your turn you may return up to one of your Impel Down type character with a cost of 2 or more to the owner's hand. And then you can add up to 1 down card from your down deck and rest it. So you obviously have some on-play recycling with that effect, because you can get back some of your characters, and also with the purple you always want to ramp, so you get that part of the effect as well. So that should be a very interesting leader, especially if you like the Impel Down type. Inazuma is also very interesting. That's one of the SRs of the set. It's a 6-cost 7k power cards. And at the end of your turn, if you have 2 or less cards in your hand, you can draw 2 cards. So you have mad draw power with that character. It's gonna be very good, because that's something that is gonna trigger every turn. That's all end of your turn, you can draw back 2 cards. So you have counters. You can also use this in a mill deck for Nami, because you always want to be drawing cards with that deck. Mr. 1 is also worth talking about, because his effect is if your leader types include Baroque Work, this character gains plus 1000 power for every 2 events in your trash, and on play you can draw 2 cards and trash 1 from your hand. So you have card cycling, that's already perfect. We know that we want to be cycling those cards to get the cards we need in hand when we need to play them, and it's a 5-cost 6k character, so this definitely has some aggressive power when you need to control the boards, but also it bears the effect that was already present in a former Mr. 1 Das Bones, and that's a very cool spin on that original effect. Let's just hope that this is enough to bring back Baroque Works from the dead. A bit on the event of the blue color now, we have Gum Gum Champion Rifle. It's a 1-cost event with a counter that if your leader has the Impel Down type, up to one of your leader or character gain plus 2k during this battle. So that's a simple 2k counter, and then your opponents return one of their active character to the owner's hand. So you can prevent further aggression from your opponent. And playing this like late game, if your opponent's manages boards very poorly and plays his big character before he attacks, you can play this to protect yourself and bounce back that character in the hands of your opponent. And you also have a trigger with this, of course, and the target is a 3 cost or lower, but it's to the bottom of the deck. So if you really do not want that card anymore on the board on your opponent's side, you can totally get this at the bottom of the deck. Very good card. And a lot of love for the blue event on this set, because the next card, Sorry I'm a Goner, is also very interesting. For 1 cost you got a counter, you can reveal 1 card from the top of your deck, and if the reveal card has a cost of 4 or more, you can return up to 1 of your characters to the owner's hand. Then you can place the revealed card at the bottom of the deck. And it's a bit weird said like that, but that actually allows you to defend yourself. Because remember that the counter phase actually comes before the damage calculation phase, which determines if a card is KO or not. So if you want to protect the card that is being attacked on your board to protect your board, you can play this defensively. And also the trigger, you can return 1 character with a cost of 8 or less to the owner's hand. That's just like a Gum Gum Red Rock on steroid, okay? It only comes from the trigger, but this card is a 1 cost, okay? And you got a Red Rock from trigger. That's just insane. And we also have Lockdown, very interesting. It's a 2 cost stage card. With an activate main, you may place this card and 1 card from your hand at the bottom of your deck in any order and draw 2 cards. With the trigger, you can play this card, so you can basically get a free draw. That's kind of what it means. You Lockdown, you know what it is, you know you have it. You can just put 1 of your cards with Lockdown at the bottom of your deck and draw 2 cards. That's very good to me. We stay in sequence with the first purple card of the set. It's a 5 cost, 5k power Khalifa from the Water 7 and Galila company. Hey, before we continue with the card list, maybe consider subscribing to the channel. We talk about the One Piece card game, board game, video game, mangas and all that good stuff. So if that's your jam, you're in the right place. Also, the more the merrier, so if you know someone in your entourage that is as geeky as you, maybe share this video with them. Let's go back to the card list. And she has a non-play effect done -1. If your leader has the Water 7 type, you can add up to 2 character cards with a cost of 4 or less from your trash to your hand. So that's a very practical event, because you can get back some very key targets from your trash, as long as they have a cost of 4 or less, but it doesn't specify any time, so you can make like kind of a mixing deck of the Galila company with something else, maybe Impel Down or Animal Kingdom Pirate. Let's say you just get back 2 ultis from your trash and you have 2 page 1s in your hand, then you can play the ulti again and have page 1 come with her and build the board quickly back up again. She's also very interesting because she can potentially make Iceberg, the leader, relevant again, because that leader was lacking in a ton of aspects and nobody gave him any love, despite of his type having a very interesting effect. Bluno, 4 cost, 5k power is also very interesting. On play you can done -1, and if your leader has a Water 7 type, you can play up to 1 Water 7 type character card with a cost of 5 other than Bluno from your hands or trash. And this card could also make Iceberg relevant again, because now with that Bluno you can get more inertia going with your board and try to build your board correctly before your opponents overrun you with whatever tactic is using. Love it. I can't wait to see what this does to Iceberg as a leader and if it makes it playable, because I have the alternate art and I never was able to build any deck for it, so that could be my chance. Miss Wednesday is also very interesting because of course in each booster set from the One Piece card game we need all those of She's a 3 cost 4k power with the blocker effect and a very interesting additional effect that on your opponent's attack once per turn you can done -1, and if your leader types include Baroque Works, you can add up to 1 done card from your done deck and set it as active. So that's kind of a weird spin on the RAM thing, where you have sort of like a counter ramp for purple now. That's very interesting, but we have to see if this also make Blurple Crocodile from set 1 relevant, because that leader also got no love when it was released. Nobody would play this, it was like too weak, and it didn't have any proper support, unlike Vivi's in this picture. Let's look a bit at the event for purple now, and we have O Come Away, which is the event from Bonclay. It's a 1-cost counter, done -1 if your leader type include Baroque work. You can select one of your character and change the attack target to the select character. So that allows you to turn any cards on your board into a blocker for 1 cost. That's very interesting. Also has a trigger, done -1, draw 2 cards, very good. I don't have to tell you this again, draw power is key in the game. But we have now a very interesting mechanic where you can block with characters that were not able to block before. So if your opponent is constantly aggressing your key bodies on the board, in order to cut off your offense for next turn, you can redirect this somewhere else. And also, this doesn't say that the character needs to be active in order to block, or that you need to change its states. So if that's a rested character that's just worthless to you, then go for it. Or if it is one of your big character on the board that is not gonna take any damage from that attack, all the more better. Next we have Conquerors of the Three Worlds Ragnarok from Kaido, and that's a 5-cost, so that's a big event actually. And let's start with the trigger. You can add the to 1 down card from your down deck and set it as active, so you get some ramp with the trigger. That's very good, we like that. And the effect is actually a down -1 effect, so that's a very low price. You can kill up to one of your character with a cost of 8 or less. That is cheaper than Red Rock, or maybe not, because you pay 5 and you done -1, so yeah, that's maybe similar to Red Rock. And the difference that this is a KO and not a bottom decking of the opponent's card. But that's up to you to see what type you prefer the most, but remember that in black you cannot KO some key targets like Borsellino, so you have to get around that and you have to bottom deck them instead of just KOing them through effects or attacks. And we finally get to the third leader of this set, which is Kairos of the Dressrosa type. Has an activate main. Once per turn you may turn 1 card from the top of your life cards face up, and you can KO one of your opponent's character with a cost of 0. So the KO part actually relies a ton of the black mechanic of reducing cost, so if you play this leader, bear that in mind. You need a ton of cost reducing stuff. Turning your life card face up, that actually doesn't matter because you know now what's in your life. You can plan ahead, and also since you have access to yellow, you can do a ton of cool stuff with that anyway. And so let's start with the black character with Scarlet. 2 cost, 0 power, 1k counter. Has an activate main. You may trash this character and play up to 1 Dressrosa type character card with a cost of 3 or less other than Scarlet from your hand rested. And that is intended to play the Kairos from set 4. You know, the one that goes with the Corrida Colosseum, that you have to attack 3 times in order to get rid of the board. Yeah, that character. Then you can give up to one of your opponents -2 cost during this turn. So that's your cost reduction for black with this new Kairos leader. Next we have the SR Brook from the Straw Hat crew, which find it weird. It should be from the Rumble Pirate, but yeah. It's a 3 cost, 4k power. On play, when attacking, you can give up to one of your opponent character -1 during this turn, then KO up to one of your opponent character with a cost of 0. So you have also cost reduction with that Brook, which is very good, and you can pair this with all your other KO cards from black. But you can also pair this with one of the new cards from this set, which is actually both Laboons from EB01. The first Laboon, the one that we see here, let's call this Baby Laboon. It's a 2 cost, 4k power of the animal type, and has an effect that once per turn when a character is KO, you can draw 1 card and trash 1 from your hands. So that's good good for draw power, and the Adult Laboon, which is the second SR for black, is actually a 4-cost 5k power with a 1k counter, and an activate main you may rest this character and give up to one of your opponents -4 cost during this turn. So Laboon plus Brook give you -5 already, Scarlet gives you an additional -2, and your leader just KO whatever comes at this stage. Or you can maybe split that cost reduction amongst multiple target, KO with Brook and your leader, just black color doing its thing. Also has a very cute alternate art from Soso, the same artist that did the chopper for the red color. Black event, we have I Want to Live, which is very interesting. That's a 3-cost event with a counter that if you have 30 or more cards in your trash, you can add up 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards. So black now can add more lives. That was only possible in yellow, but now black can do that as well. Adding more life is always good, and 30 cards in your trash, that's a huge number to get, but if you play some Dressrosa with the Corrida Colosseum, you might get to that number fairly easily, provided you don't play that infamous 7-cost Luffy that actually takes cards in your trash and put them back in your deck. And we are now at yellow, the last color of the game. And we have Viola, which is interesting. She's a blocker for 2 costs, and as a non-play you can choose one of those 2 effects. You can look at all your opponent's life cards and place them back in their life area in any order, or you can turn all your life cards face down. So the second effect is preventing you from losing all your cards for the starter deck 13, which is not out yet, but we've already made a detailed list of all the cards on the channel, so make sure to check this out. And the bottom line is that with that deck you also have some fiddling with the life, where some of your lives get turned face up, just like the Kairos leader from EB01, but those cards are bound to be trashed if they are still face up at the end of your turn. So Viola could help you turn all your life cards face down in that instance. Other than that, just for the other effect that you can look at all your opponent's life and put them back in the order that you want, that's already very good. I would cut them all retreat for the end of the game. No counter, no trigger, no blockers of any kind at the end of the life. So I know the last hit that I'm gonna input, they have to take it. Next we have the second SR for yellow, that's Shirahoshi, 2-cost 0 power and a counter of 1000. And when this character is KO by your opponent's effect, you can add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to your life card. Already very good, we want that value, we want to be KO'd by effect because then we get a free life, basically. And also she's a blocker, so you can defend with Shirahoshi, but then you do not get the part of the effect where you get that additional life. So that's up to you to choose. Yellow effect, we actually have a very interesting effect that's a 6-cost, that's very high. And it's Kingdom Come. It's a yellow effect with the main effect that you can KO up to one of your opponent's character and then trash card from the top of your life until you have 1 life card left. Now, just look, play this well, because that's a double-edged sword. Do not play this if you have a ton of life. Play this when you need a key target removed from your opponent's board and that you're already low on life. And also you get a trigger that's very interesting. If you get this early into the game, you can KO up to one of your opponent character with a cost equal to or less than the total of your and your opponent's life cards. And look, this is a Sky Island type card, so you're gonna play this in an NL deck. You're gonna have 4 life though, so that's already a 4 cost that you can target. Plus, if you haven't touched your opponent's life and this is early game and he's starting to playing his big bodies like a 6 or 7 cost, and you guys both have all your life still, then you can KO that card fairly easily. That's very cool. And the very last event that we have is Did Someone Say Kami? It's a 4-cost event with the main effect that you can play up to 1 NL with a cost of 7 or less from your hand or trash. Yes, that is the SR NL from set 5. And then you can trash from the top of your life cards until you have 1 life card. So that's the same deal as with the Kingdom Come event. You need to play this when you're already at low life in order to throw out for cheaper your NL Rush. You can get it out for a 4 cost instead of a 7. So if you have 2 in hand, yeah, you can play 2 rush from your hands. That's very interesting. And that way you're not gonna trash that much life. Also has a trigger, you can draw 2 cards and trash one from your hands. Card cycling, we love that, we need that. And the absolute very last card for this set that we are gonna talk about is Bonkle Bantam. That's the secret rare from the set. It's a 4 cost with a 1k base power and a counter of 1000, and it's a former Baroque work type. So yes, this is still in the type including Baroque work, but it is not type is Baroque work. A little different that might be important depending on how you play a Baroque work deck. But the effect is actually very interesting as well, because we have an on-play, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active, so you get some ramp when you play this card, and when attacking you can set up to 1 of your opponent's character. This character's base power becomes the same as the selected character power during this turn. So Bonkle's power become the power of the opponent's character that you select. If your opponent has played the 12k Kaido from blue, then this Bantam become the 12k power. That said, when it's your opponent's turn, he turns back into the 1k power that he basically have. But I'm sure there is some way to make this worth your while when you build a deck. And also we have one of the most interesting alternate art to date, because if you know, you know. But if you don't, then I'm sorry, I cannot do anything for you, go read One Piece. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Which cards did you find is the most interesting? Which one are you gonna chase? And if this extra booster set is not your jam and you're looking for something more common in the One Piece card game, let's say with OBO6 or 7, maybe you should check out this video next.